Hey guys, welcome back to the Williams Road to Glory. I am Vroom Vroom F1 and today we're going to be participating in the Australian Grand Prix. This week's race is in Sydney. We left off right before we were due to begin the race, so we're just going to go into it. So I think for the sponsor, I'm going to just go with ROKiT, because if we are able to qualify in the top 10, that would be a crazy achievement. We're also going to be getting $136,000, which is actually more than anyone else. It's a good deal. Okay, tires, let's see. So I'm just going to go with that, 654. I'm just going to do that for both of these guys. I'm not really sure what to do with tires, so if anyone has more experience with this game than I do, please let me know what the right tire strategy is in the comments. But I think for now, I'm good with what I have, so let's just let's go to practice. Here we are at the Australian Grand Prix. First practice. So I am going to use Nicholas Latifi and George Russell as my drivers just because they give better feedback than Jamie Chadwick does. Okay, so the mechanics recommend a setup in the green, which is not currently what we have deployed, so I'm just gonna fix that. I think we're good with Latifi. Basically, the default setup was outside of the recommended zone, so I'm just gonna go in and fix that before the session starts. Take practice. Let's go. I'm gonna send Latifi out for a qualifying practice, and I will send George Russell out for race practice. So he's gonna be simulating what the race conditions will be like. Alright, I'm just gonna set it on 12 times speed because there's not much interaction needed for practice. We just gotta make sure that the setups are running and everything is effective. So I'm just gonna hop in whenever that comes into play. There's a large elevation change. You see that big hill? Aero's feeling great right now, just the right setup. Thank you, George. So it looks like we did something right with the aero setup. The handling isn't responsive enough. Can we do anything about that? Okay, so Nicholas Latifi wants better handling, but I think the other things we've set up are all good. Alright, Latifi on the in-lap. Latifi thinks that the downforce is great, handling is poor, and speed balance is great. So I'm going to send him out for another qualifying run, and then we'll see if that works, and then I'll do a race run. Russell's currently going 17th, but that's alright, because he is doing a race simulation. So he's going as fast as he would, essentially, in the race, while other people are doing qualifying. Oh, shoot, it's raining. Okay, I just sent Latifi out on a lap with super soft tires. I'm going to have to bring him in and switch it to intermediates, because you cannot drive dry tires in the rain. So yeah, it's going to be pretty wet all session until the very end. That explains why our lap times are so bad, because we set them on the wrong tire. Looks like we got excellent... what is that? Excellent handling. That's really good. So I think, yeah, setup is 96%. I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to try to get the qualifying and race trim levels as high as possible, but that is looking really good. So in comes George Russell. I'm going to do a bit of work on his setup, and then we're going to send him out again. The aero setup feels fantastic, so Nicholas Latifi likes what we've done with this setup. That's good. Coming around the final few turns onto the home stretch, he goes 15th fastest, so a bit of a disappointment, but all in all, about where we expected to be, because after all, we are Williams, and we are essentially driving a tube of toothpaste on wheels. The rain just comes and goes, and I think it's gone for good, but you can never be too sure, which is annoying. George Russell really likes the downforce, which is good, because that was the last time he came in for a pit stop. He was saying that he wanted more downforce, but now he comes in again, and we are just going to send him right back out on super softs. And he is about to start his flying lap. Now, George Russell is one of the best drivers in the real-life Formula 1, but he's just stuck on the worst team, which doesn't reflect well on him. Hopefully in this game, we'll be able to make our team better, much faster than the actual Williams team, and maybe potentially he'll be the one to win the World Championship. The goal of the Road to Glory series is to go until we win the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship, and George Russell is almost done with his lap, so we're going to hear what he has to say about it when he comes around the final turn. Let's see. 4th best time. Wow, okay. I did not expect to see that. So we're George Russell with the 4th best time. That is amazing. Especially for a team like ours. Wow. We're faster than McLaren. We're faster than Red Bull. We're faster than Ferrari. What is going on with Sebastian Vettel? I'm just gonna pop on over to him. He's driving around in intermediate tires on a dry track. He's on wet tires on a dry track, and he's 17th fastest. What is the strategy with that? I don't understand. Alright, so Latifi 12th, Russell 4th. I think that's how we're going to finish the session. That is really good for the 9th or 10th best team on the grid to be able to finish our first practice session with a car in 4th place. That is amazing. Hopefully we can qualify high as well, because that does reflect very nicely on how we're going to do in the future. George Russell with the 5th best time. Okay, so we did get past in the end, but that's alright. Mauro Tavares says, Williams Racing, keep up the good work. Thank you. And ESPN says, the engineers must have been doing a good job with George Russell's setup because they were showing some impressive pace out there. We were showing impressive pace. Thank you for noticing. So basically, the way qualifying works is the 5 slowest drivers at the end of every cutoff point get eliminated, and everyone else moves on. So we are going to try to be, obviously, within the safe zone. Alright, is it going to rain? It's not. It's only going to rain at the end of the session, so we're going to want to get our laps in now. I'm going to build up a bit of a gap between them, just so that my 2 drivers don't run into each other, because that could be a problem. The sponsor wants us to finish within the top 10. I'm not sure if that is possible at the moment, but if we're able to get out of Q1, which means out of the bottom 5, that is a win in my books. So that's the goal for this. Just get out of qualifying 1. These are the last turns onto the start finish straight. And that is going to be... What time is that? Okay, it's the 3rd best time. But we're going to try to get them out again as fast as possible. George Russell, really quickly, new set of tires. And I'm just going to send him out again. And as soon as Latifi comes in, we're just going to do the same. Yeah, he's 5/10ths down. Half a second down on his time from before, and it's the rain. The rain is coming down. That's not good. Okay. With 3 minutes to go. George Russell starting his outlap. My guess is they're both going to be a lot slower than they were before, which is fine. I mean, we did qualify ahead of another driver. I mean, we are going to have a driver in last, but there is going to be one guy that's worse than us, and that's okay. As long as we're not the worst of the worst. But yeah, Russell is 8/10ths down in the first sector. He's probably going to be even slower through the second just because there's more turns. So this does not... It's not looking good for us. All the people who set times when it was dry are going to be moving on to the next round. And our dry times were not good enough. And it's just going to keep raining till the end of the session. It's looking like we're not making it to Q2 today. We're going to be 18th and 20th to start the race tomorrow. And I guess I'll see you on race day. Here is your starting grid. Starting first, we have Max Verstappen, the pole sitter. Across from him, lining up second, is the Monegasque, Charles Leclerc. As we head down the rest of the grid, we have Lance Stroll in third and Daniel Kvyat starting fourth. Lining up sixth with a great time in qualifying, Daniel Ricciardo across from Pierre Gasly of Scuderia AlphaTauri. Starting seventh is the Haas driver Kevin Magnussen, ahead of last year's championship winner Lewis Hamilton. Starting ninth is Sebastian Vettel, across from Lewis Hamilton's teammate Valtteri Bottas. Now eliminated in Q2, we have Antonio Giovinazzi, who will be starting 11th, across from Sergio Perez. 13th, we see Romain Grosjean and Kimi Räikkönen. In 15th, we see Alexander Albon across from Lando Norris. Lining up 17th, on the 9th row is Carlos Sainz, who will be sharing that 9th row with George Russell. And rounding off the back of the grid, we have Esteban Ocon and Nicholas Latifi. Let's go down to the starting grid for the start of the race. And it's lights out and away we go for this first race of the season. Looks like our drivers got away poorly, although Esteban Ocon got off even worse, so Latifi almost makes his way around the outside. Looks like he does, so we're up into 18th and 19th. This is a good start. George Russell, getting his elbows out, moves up into 17th place. Latifi gets pushed out down to the 20th, but Russell, up the inside, is going to come in 16th now. So he's in 16th position, while Latifi makes a lunge around, and Latifi's got himself up into 15th now. That was a great lunge from him, right through a bunch of different cars. Latifi is absolutely flying. He's up in 14th. He's got the fastest first sector of anyone on the track. I would not have expected that. Russell down in 17th. We click ahead to Latifi. We see he's now made it up into that midfield pack instead of towards the back. But George Russell is trying to get his way around Esteban Ocon to come into 15th place. So Latifi trying to go around the outside of the McLaren, and he does, almost. But it looks like he's going to get pushed into the wall, and he's going to remain in 15th. He's got Esteban Ocon and Alexander Albon ahead of him, and he's going to try to maneuver his way around, but he leaves the inside open. George Russell is not going to take it. And now I'm going to move the engine modes and the tire wear slightly down so we can conserve our tires a bit. Someone's gone off. Who is that? It looks like Alexander Albon. Albon had a lockup and he went off the track. He just cut the corner. So he's going to be facing a penalty, and he finds himself down in 17th. Which means that our drivers can stay put in 15th and 16th. Although Albon makes his way around George Russell. Russell says, "Damn, I couldn't do anything about it. I want revenge. I'm coming for you, Albon." Something's going wrong with the engine, it looks like. Yeah, Latifi's engine is really worn. I think our engine mode is too high that it's damaging the car. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Has someone gone off? Someone went off. Kevin Magnussen has crashed. He's come into the pit lane. And I think he's out of this race. So Kevin Magnussen is the first retirement of the season. So Russell is currently going slower than Latifi. If Russell manages to start going faster than his teammate, then I will tell Latifi to let George Russell through, just because Russell's got a better engine and he's on the higher power mode. But currently, if Russell wants to make a move, he's gonna have to do it himself. So George Russell currently running in 17th, Latifi in 18th. Lance Stroll has decided to pit. Lance Stroll in 19th place. He started 3rd. He's going to be the first one to pit. And I think I'm going to bring in Latifi early. So we're going to pit Latifi on lap 6. Put on a new set of tires. Because if you look at the water on the track, it's going to go down around lap 12. These tires only have to last for 6 laps. So we can actually make him go quite fast on these. He's going to come into the pits alongside Lando Norris. So Lando Norris, Nicholas Latifi are pitting in tandem. Are they going to come out ahead of Lance Stroll? Because if they come out ahead of Lance Stroll, that means that once everyone's pitted, we're going to be in front. We are not. Undercut did not work. Although here is George Russell getting past Antonio Giovinazzi. Good job, Russell. He's almost burned off his fuel. He has burned off his fuel. I'm going to bring him down to medium. And I'm also going to make him pit this lap. So George Russell will be coming in on lap 7 onto a new set of intermediates. So we're going to bring George Russell in at the end of this lap, and then he'll wear the tires until about lap 12, when the rain will go away, and then we'll pit again for super softs. So Latifi is saying he feels like his engine isn't producing enough power, which is true. Or it's 71% worn, which is not a good sign. It means that he's almost in the red zone. He's past the red zone, and in the red zone he has a chance of failing. And if the engine fails, that's your race. So we don't want that to happen. Latifi currently trying to catch Grosjean. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it before the next round of pit stops. Although we might want to bring him in. You know what, I'm thinking about bringing one of the drivers in a lap early, so then when everyone else pits, they're going to be on drier tires. Let's see what these guys are doing. These guys are pitting, or do they pit onto new wet tires, or do they do dries? So they're pitting onto newer wet tires. Although in 4 laps, they're going to have to switch off anyway. So I don't know if that's the best decision to make. So this race hasn't fully ended yet. We gotta wait until the track dries up and we will see essentially what the end result is going to be. Although Carlos Sainz, using his ERS, goes up the inside of Nicholas Latifi. He's going to get by. I'm going to switch over to George Russell. Although Latifi fights him back. Latifi's got a great speed all of a sudden, as both of our drivers are going to push Kimi Räikkönen out of the way. We're not going to get by him, though. If we look at the water, it is really decreasing. In about a lap or two, there's just going to be nothing on the track and we can come in and pit. as George Russell makes his way around the outside of Kimi Räikkönen. Points might be on the table. I know it's a bit too early to say this definitively, but we might be able to get into the top 10 and get some points. The lap times are just going to start improving from this point onwards because of the track conditions. Just going to get faster and faster. George Russell says he wants to stop pushing. His tires are very hot right now. I was not paying attention to that. His tires are incredibly overheated. He's going to go on engine mode high though, because he does have to defend from Kimi Räikkönen. And we are in the top 10. George Russell is running in 10th place. We are within the top 10. I'm going to bring him into pit this lap though. Put him on a set of super soft tires. These will last 6 to 8 laps. There we go. Now I'm going to have Latifi back off a bit so we can build up this gap before it. I'm going to try to bring them both in, but I don't want to have them go one after the other. I want to have a little bit of a gap between them, just so we can get them both clear at the same time. So I think this is enough of a gap. So a lot of drivers stay out. A lot of people choosing not to pit, which is surprising. We're able to get the double stop off, so that is perfect timing. The pit stops do not overlap at all, and we're through. We are running out of time though. There is some risk that we're just not going to catch them. Although it looks like Sergio Perez is having mechanical problems. Is he going slowly? The back of his car is just smoking. Sergio Perez has a blown engine, it looks like. George Russell up into 11th. We are one position away from scoring points in our first race. The first race we ever do, we are one position away from scoring points. Oh no. Oh no, okay. So Latifi is having engine issues. He might blow up before the race finishes. But if we're able to score points here, that would be major. Major, major. Russell is now just a few tenths back from Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat on the intermediate tires. If he comes into pit this lap, we will inherit 10th place on the outside. His tires are incredibly hot right now. We're up into P10. We did it. We are getting points. P9. 9th position for George Russell. As long as he can defend from Daniel Ricciardo and from Pierre Gasly, we are going to finish in 8th place. We had better strategy than them, which puts us in this position, but we're not fast enough to just outright defend. Ricciardo sticking his nose everywhere. Someone's gone slow. Valtteri Bottas, he's on the intermediate tires. And Russell's going to sneak up into 8th. Could he get 7th? Russell up into 7th. 7th position for a Williams. Down the pit straight. What a race! We finished 7th place in the first round. That is 6 points. Our strategy was better than everyone else. Our drivers were great. The whole weekend was perfect. Even Nicholas Latifi with his engine that is just made of moldy cheese, somehow not blown up already. 7th and 13th. Grazie ragazzi.